for this, for Zoom interactive tools. And again, same format for this, just very tool focused. God forbid we talk about pedagogy or theory or design. We're just looking at what is the tool, how do I get to it, how do I use it, period. Short, sweet. So over the next hour, we're going to be looking at just the interactive capabilities of Zoom, of which there are many. People, as they get into this environment, whether their arms halfway or all the way up their back, it's a frequently asked question that I get of how do I get people involved? How do I get them to interact? Zoom, without going out into other tools, and be aware there are plenty of tools and you can get very creative. We have had faculty members using Poll Anywhere, Kahoot, all sorts of other widgets that you just can happen to share through Zoom. But for today, we're just focusing on the onboard tools just within Zoom as far as the interactivity. Probably the simplest, most entry level, depending where your comfort level is in your Zoomery, is to be able to say that I just want to do a simple yes and no. I just want to do a straw poll. And, you know, we can do that with raising hands or whatever in person, but in Zoom, we still have that capability. So if you all go to the participants window, which I'm sharing right now, but I'll give us a chance to practice here in a minute, you will find, amongst many other things, a green yes or a red no. And you can click that at any point in time. So I will stop sharing. So now if you go to participants down below, and you will see you have a green yes or a red no on the little participants window. So choose one or the other, yes or no. Is this something you would ever use? I guess. Click on that. And then as you do that, then I will take a quick screenshot of that and show you what that looks like from the Manage Participants window. He says, yeah. Oops, too many screens. Here we go. Right. So then what that shows me, hold on. I forgot about trying to make sure. There we go. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, close enough. So you guys can see that amongst the many other junk going on here, I can see real quick who's indicated at an individual level, and this is if you're host. Whoa, got some heavy feedback there. So I can real quick see that, but also down here in the bottom, note I also get a summary there. So I could real quick look at that and say, well, you know, 30 or whatever, five of us say yeah, 2 of us say no. So who says no and why? And then I could go up here and I would have the red X to do that. Then to kind of reset things, I've also got that clear all capability. And that wipes it all out and sends it all away. So based on that, and also notice I've also got those other options for nonverbals, for other bits of feedback in there that I could encourage people to use such at any point, such as go faster, go slower, all sorts of other good stuff. Let me go back over to that one, so that I could real quick just do a informal kind of thing. So not a lot of structure, not a lot of overhead. About everybody can go, even on the mobile app, can go to participants and get to the yes, no. So it's not like you have to train people for 20 days to be able to find that. So that's a really good kind of starter thing. Where you've got a little more overhead.
Okay. Mike,
Yeah.
on that, yes and no polling, you said you could clear it out. I don't see anything like that on what I'm looking at. Is it
Yes, correct,
as
because
the,
you are not a host of this meeting. You are a participant. And that's all done in the roles. So if you schedule a Zoom meeting, you are automatically the host. And when you give that meeting link out, that's assigning that role. Anybody just clicking on that, whoever you're giving it out, by default, they're going to be a participant. Now, when you get into the actual meeting, you do, as the host, have the capability, just like we did earlier with Chris in recording. I could go in and give her custom access to record. I could go over to you, go to my manage participants button, different from the participants button, which is the big tell. And I could say, I'm going to make you a co-host, which you should see something about. And now, because I gave you that permission or rights or whatever we want to think about, now your button down below should be manage participants. And then you will see all that stuff that I was showing. But the premise here was trying to put you in the student's shoes to start with, so you'd understand how to experience that. But then we'll also look at the management side of it here as well.
so in what you sent me, I see participants down there. Manage participants? Oh, never mind.
Right. Sorry. Yeah.
Hover over it. It says manage.
No, right. Yeah, I forgot they changed the verbiage with the last update. So I was telling you inaccurate information. So it's the participants window, but because I upgraded you on the fly to a co-host, now when you click over it, you'll get all the goodies and controls now. So you could scroll over, and if you wanted to, and we were doing, rotating presentations, you could go to participants, then mouse over, David or Ellen or somebody else and say, under the more, I want to make you a co-host. And then they would be upgraded to have extra controls and have more control of the meeting. But in practice, I wouldn't recommend doing that very often with your live classes, because shenanigans can ensue. But yeah.
Can they show their screens then if you do that?
Yeah, anytime. Everybody by default, now you can alter this, has the capabilities to share a screen.
Oh,
So,
okay. You
yeah.
don't have to make them a co-host.
Correct. Yeah. Right. Yeah, and that's a good point. Yeah. Now, but again, in your context, if that's not something you're comfortable with, when you're scheduling the meeting or in your meeting settings on Zoom.us, you can make the default be turn that off. But there's also a security button as a host that I have, and well, now Margaret should have as well, that should say allow participants to, and one of those first items is share screen. Okay. So I could on the fly toggle that on or off at the meeting level, if that makes sense.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, so the next bit of interactive onboard tools of Zoom, it requires a little bit of legwork. Now, the polling tool in Zoom, you can, if you're feeling mighty brave, you can create your poll from within your live Zoom meeting. However, I do not have that kind of intestinal fortitude and or multitasking cognitive bandwidth to do that. But just know you can do it. However, if you want to be channel your brain powered in different directions and not have to do that on the fly, the recommended way is you log into zoom.us, go to meetings, go to your specific meeting, scroll to the bottom, do a poll add and save. And basically, I have to build my poll on the Zoom meeting site. Well, again, I don't have to, but I recommend the recommended way to do this is to go to zoom.us and do that before your meeting. So let me quickly go over there. So I've got all sorts of exciting things coming up, but let's say this Amy demo meeting is what I want to add a poll to. And I've just logged into zoom.us and I've gone to my meetings tab to get this far. And then just picking a specific meeting, I'm going to click on that. And I see all sorts of exciting details about my meeting. That's all well and good. But what I care about right now is at the very bottom, this poll tab. The live streaming's there. That's exciting, but we don't care about that right now. And if you clicked on that and the poll isn't underlined, click on the poll. So I have the poll underlined in blue, good to go. And now I get an add button. And if I click on that, it's a pretty straightforward little form. I can say pop-up poll. I can make it anonymous if I want, but if I want to know, be able to track back who to vote to not, I'll leave that off. So I could say, where does the rain and Spain fall? And I can do just a single choice or multiple choices. So I could say, true or false, on the plane, and pain, yada, yada, so on and so forth, until I get this thing built. Then if I wanted to make it multiple questions, if I scroll down, I have a add a question option here. So then I could have the exact same form if I wanted to have a 2-question survey. But if I didn't and I hit it by accident or that's too much, I can just say delete. I'm back to my one little question there. So if I'm happy with that, I'll say save and beep, bop, boop, and there we go. So what does that all buy me then is that when it comes time for live class interaction, as the meeting host, again, under clarifying the roles as I should, the option for me will be that I have a polls button. And if I click on that, I'll have an option to launch polling. Now I can set up multiple polls on one meeting if I want, and then I'll have to pick which one. But if I only have the one, then it's just going to give me the one option. And once I do that, then it's going to kick that out and broadcast that to all participants. And we'll go through this in a second to give you an end of that, a sense of that side. And it'll show me in real time as people are clicking choices what the results are. And it has a running timer, which is very nice in the top right, to let me know, as well as how many people have voted. In this case, there was 2 people, so it'd say 2 of 2, 100% have voted. And when I'm good and well pleased, I've got the response I want, I can say end, and then I have the option to either relaunch the poll if I did that by mistake, or I want to allow 1 or 2 people to still boop in, or I have a share results if I want to broadcast that back to participants now just as a results. And then when I'm done with that, I can say stop share, and then that makes it go away. So in real time then, for the students, I happen to have a poll set up for this. I have no idea. Oh, yeah, that's a pretty good poll. So I'll launch the polling. I went to polls and launched polling. And now as participants, you should see the feedback loop in progress, or the feedback loop question, one question, and you can click all those different options. So somebody just clicked. So I could see I have 1 of 4, 25% with 22 seconds left. all sorts of good stuff with that. And
Michael,
yeah,
so when you would type in a question, you would hit save and then add a question if you wanted to?
your mic is a little fuzzy. If I save the question and
No,
then
if you would have to save the question before adding the next polling question.
when on the Zoom website.
Yeah,
No, yeah, I can I add all my questions and then save at the end.
okay,
Yeah. I think that's what you're asking, right?
yes.
Okay. So right. So I said stop the poll and then I shared results, but I could also relaunch it too with my little relaunch, and it's giving me a little warning sign saying, oh, it's going to clear all your results there. And I'll say cancel because that's all scary. But then I'll stop sharing that and then I can just close the window. But notice here, once I go over to my little screenshots of all this, here's the little warning danger thing it gave me. But notice that if I'm feeling brave, I can go in and I can edit these on the fly. But I've got my button to say end the polling, and then I've still got, how many people have chipped in, how much time has elapsed, so on and so forth. So it's kind of a nice little one-stop shop of walking me through how I do that. The only real overhead is just going into Zoom and setting up your questions ahead of time to do that. Which again, you don't have to, but you can just log right in and I can just try and crank it out on the fly. But yeah. Questions on Zoom polling?
I had a question on that.
Yeah.
Can you, when you hit anonymous, you can't see who voted what, and the students can't see who voted what?
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't click anonymous, then can the students see who voted or what they voted for? I did not see our names on there. And
yeah,
I clicked
and I can't
one.
remember. Yeah, and I can't remember how I set that particular poll up because that was a couple months ago. So, yeah, I think that is the difference, and I think I set this up as anonymous. So, yeah, when you go into it, yeah, and that's the difference. You can see who voted for who.
So you can't see. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure for whatever reason I set this up as anonymous. I was trying to remember why, but I can't. So,
All right, thanks.
yeah.
But when you do set that up and only the host can see the participants, what they did, even if you share the results of the poll, the students don't see what other students voted. They just see the totals.
If I did it as a non-anonymous, then well, trying to remember now. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that one because I know if you don't say anonymous, there's a way to download data to say who voted how. As far as the displaying part, I can't remember if you do not say anonymous, if it shows who voted which way once you share results. So let me look that up and get back to you because that is a good question. Yeah. But other questions on polling? otherwise we will forge onwards. Okay. Onwards we go. So that is polling, all sorts of good stuff. Polling, launching, right. The next feature is really where Zoom can come into its own for being a fully interactive classroom environment and recreating intensive small group work, which is breakout rooms. There's a few moving parts to it. So you kind of want to play with it if it's a place you're going to want to go to. But it's one of those, the more you use it, the more straightforward it is, and the more you don't have to think about it. But the first couple times, it can be a little weird. So basically, as host, I have a button for breakout rooms. When I click on that, I will see the little dude on the right-hand side. And this is my first decision point of, first of all, how many rooms am I going to need? Am I going to need, just one breakout room, which would be kind of goofy. Hopefully, you're at least using 2 or more rooms there. And then as far as populating who's in which room, do I want Zoom to just automatically do a randomization? If so, I want to leave the automatically check. Or if I want to control and manually populate my rooms, then I would say manually. But as far as launching this, I'd probably want to think through and again have a little practice playtime with this, and I'm always happy to be a crash test dummy while people play and get some experience with that. But it'll also tell you, based on your choices for rooms and how many participants you have, what that will result in as far as how many participants per breakout rooms. But once I've told it how many rooms and how we're going to populate those, then I create rooms. And again, I've gotten to this by being a host and having a breakout room in my little magic Zoom control bar. So once I do that, then I get a screen that looks like this little guy. And it's multiple copies of the same one, but for each breakout room, I've created. So in this case, I've said I want 2 rooms. It doesn't get super more creative than this. Breakout room 1, breakout room 2. By default, I'm just going to I just have those headers, and I have to go in. If I'm going to manually assign them, then I do have to go in and do this assign business. If I've said automatically, I can skip right ahead and it's automatically going to be in there. But if I want manual control over, I have already predefined lab groups or something that I don't want it to just be random, I want it to be specific ones, I have to then, under my breakout room headers, say assign, and then I'll get a list of participants, and each participant will have a checkbox. And as I check that, that's going to populate them in there, and also give me a running total on how many people are in that breakout room in particular. So I've created my breakout rooms by going to breakout, and if I want to do manually, I've got that other step. Otherwise, if I set on magically, they're just randomly going to be mixed up and distributed amongst them, but they're not in there yet until I click the open all rooms. And once I click open all rooms, off they go into their breakout rooms. So they will get a little screen, then their Zoom screen will change, and it'll look like this little guy on the right-hand side of, you're joining a breakout room 1. It'll take a few moments, and then beep, bop, boop. Then they appear in a Zoom meeting, but there's a few changes to it as far as their options because it's a breakout room. And one of those things is going to be that they have now a ask for help button down at the bottom on the control bar. And instead of leave meeting, it's going to say leave breakout room. Now, if a student, any of the students in any of the breakout rooms, click the ask for help button, you as the host, wherever you're at, if you're still in the main room or a breakout room, you will get this little pop-up message saying, in this case, Erin has asked for help. And I have a shortcut to just click the join breakout room to go, in this case, to breakout room 1, where Erin has hit that button. Or I can snooze that and say later, where I will not do that. I'll finish my current whatever I'm up to, and then be able to still go over and join them. Because if we go back to our breakout rooms screen here, that I'll have as the host, every breakout room, once I've opened them, will then light up with a join button. And as host, if I click join, I'll get the beep bop boop thing, and then I'll pop up in breakout room 1 or breakout room 2. And this is to give that ability to float around the room while the groups are discussing. So you can pop in, check on everybody, or just eavesdrop and make people nervous and whatnot until you leave the breakout room and go back to the main room. When I'm done, I can then say I want to close all rooms from this little red button here. But notice I also have a broadcast message to all button to give people a warning or any updates or changes or whatever. We're going to add 2 more extra minutes or 2-minute warning before we come back to the main room, whatever it is. But once I click close all rooms, then students will have a 60-second countdown started that will primarily feature this little guy on the right saying this room will close and counting down from 60 seconds before you join the main room. And they can say, okay, I'll just go, or hold on, we want to finish and get our last 30 seconds in there. So you can have lots of all sorts of things, but it just really is about kind of the structure that you want with that. And just to give you kind of some meat on that bones, unfortunately, I ran out of time to find examples from other normal humans, so I just went back through some of my online hybrids, and I would put up a slide like this saying, okay, I'm going to give you 15 minutes. We're going to go to breakout rooms, and your breakout rooms and your groups come up with your answer, A, B, or C, but then also putting down the marker, be prepared to explain or defend your choice. So that they would know that they need to have time on task with that. So just to give you a quick flavor of that, I'll just do a quick little run through and just boop us out 2 breakout rooms, just so you have that experience. I'll just do it for a minute here or 2 so you can see that. But I'll randomly distribute us in a couple breakout rooms here. So just to see what it looks like, see what the students see, and then I'll send you a quick message, and then I'll bring everybody back, just so you understand it from kind of the business end of things here. So I'll say 2 breakout rooms, I'll say automatically, and I'll say create rooms. And now I've got my breakout rooms populated. So now I'm going to say open all rooms. And in just a second, once I click that, you'll see an invitation to join a breakout room. So go over there, have a little chat, and then I'll send you a message, and then I'll bring you back. Stand by. wanted to work on, you could do that. So yeah, and for folks just filtering in for breakout room 1, I was just making the point that in those breakout rooms, if you didn't see it, there was also a share screen button, so everybody could share content in those breakout discussions and any digital stuff, web pages, PowerPoints, PDFs, Google Docs, so on and so forth. So yeah.
Okay, Mike, so where on your screen as the host is this menu where I'm going to find the breakout rooms?
If you are still co-host, then it will be under the more, which I think I think you're still co-host. Be more and breakout rooms.
I don't see more.
Oh, then
At the bottom of the screen,
yeah,
3 dots. Yeah.
it says security, participants, polls, chat, screen share, recording and reactions, and that's all I have.
oh, I think I'd have to make you host then to do it. So sorry.
So
Yeah.
if you're the host, down at the bottom of the screen there, where the participants are, is a more button, and that's where I'll find it.
Right. And I have all the little whistles and bells turned on for this one. So yeah.
Is that where the whiteboard is? Also?
No. Anybody could go to share screen and say whiteboard. So as participant or host,
Okay.
doesn't
I don't know
matter.
where that is.
When you go to the share screen button below, that is one of your options.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't done
So
that.
particularly if you needed to be working through a diagram or a math
Right.
problem or something, then yeah.
I'll probably do that.
Yeah. So then you could just doodle your little heart out. What other
Punnett
last-
squares.
Yeah, Punnett squares. There you go. One other thing then before we just wind up here is there's other nonverbal reactions, which I believe, now I am starting to question things. You should have a reactions button if I've done my homework correctly. And therein you can find clapping and thumbs upping and all that other good stuff. Which, yeah, I think I've done that for everybody. If not, let me know. But you can see I've got a clapping pop up in my little thing or thumbs up. Yeah, so just kind of a for what it's worth, it's. I don't know. It's something. And some students will find those and use them for fun anyway without direction. And other people, once you point them that way, they might never ever stop clapping or thumbs upping you. So, yeah. Questions?
As they're naked dancing around the room behind you, right, Amy?
Hope not. I wanted the coffee cup. I thought he would serve us coffee, but
Yeah, if you go to, I think you can go to participants and more there, and that's where you can get a coffee cup.
yeah, that's where it is.
Yeah, it's a little more tucked
It's under
away.
more.
Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I think, isn't that for like a bathroom break or something?
right, yeah, that's supposed to be the shorthand if you have to step away.
I'll be right back, but
Right.
don't be offended, but I'm leaving for a few minutes.
Right.
What does the clock mean? Hurry up? Oh,
Uh,
away.
yeah, that can be like I have to go away for a longer time.
So what does go faster mean?
As far as if you using that for feedback of you're going too fast with the content.
Oh, I
Um,
can, okay.
yeah, and again, shaping your expectations on A, making them aware that these are there, and then B, what you do or do not want feedback and when can be helpful in a live context. If you're just doing recording,
Yeah.
then you're good to go. But as far as if you're doing a live one, yeah, how or if do you want them to utilize those and when?
Okay.
So that's, yeah. Other questions?
Just have to practice.
Yeah. And
Mike, with an asynchronous course, breakout room isn't really going to come into play, is it? Ever?
Nope, it shouldn't. It really shouldn't, because if you're saying you're in a 920, 921, 922 asynchronous mode, that means you cannot have mandatory live sessions in any modality. As I understand it, or it's been told to me by lawyerly types, that where we would be breaking the contract we've made with the students, or the advertising, or the terms of how they signed up for the course. Yeah. Now, that being said, you can have, and many people have gone down this road, where you have an optional, like office hours, or optional, I don't know, what's the one? Coffee talk is what somebody in health science had. What was another one? But basically, as an optional thing. And then if there's any content that they're going to share, then they record it and just slap the recording into Canvas. So even if you couldn't make the not mandatory live session, you could still have access to that content. And you
I have a hypothetical question. What if there's a group project, groups of 2, 3, and then multiple groups meet in a Zoom session? So conceivably, then a breakout room could be used if there was a colloquy between these 2 groups and myself.
Yeah. You're getting,
and they had questions or something.
Yeah, you're going down a complicated road there, David.
Okay, well, I keep it simple.
Because now you've got this whole other tool that you're introducing, and maybe for your context that makes sense. But yeah, at that point, I would probably start asking you questions about, well, would a group discussion board do the same thing, or a group Flipgrid still give them that same interactivity to do whatever group task you've assigned them, versus the overhead of a live session, which you could do if it's an intensive thing that they need live give and take with. Then yeah, maybe that is the road you need to go down. But yeah, just in general, I'm always leery of sending asynchronous people too far down that road, unless that's something that's needed to match the learning activity that needs to happen.
Back to the office talk for just their coffee time, whatever you want to call it. You mentioned taping it, recording it.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, do we need to have a waiver for those people that show up? Number two, are we required to put that on? If we make it available, I meet with 3 of them, want to meet, I said I'm going to be around at 10 a.m. If you have questions, do I have to put that on?
I would refer you to Ms. Melinda Repke or Dr. Gray for your dean and assistant dean for specific guidance in that scenario, because you would want to have them on board with that scenario of, hey, I'm doing informal office hours, and the idea is it's one-on-one. Yeah, Now, in that scenario, though, of doing informal office hours, you might want to use the main room as a waiting room, and then use the breakout room for the one-on-one talk. And
Yeah,
then,
mine's asynchronous too, so
yeah, but
it's fine.
that would still give you that quote unquote virtual office hour thing of I need you guys to wait in the hall. And Ellen, why don't you come with me and we'll go into a breakout room. And
Oh, I see
everybody
what you
else,
mean.
I'll be back in whatever 5-10 minutes, and then take the next person in.
I see. And take individual questions that way.
Right, and at that point,
Okay.
yeah, you're not what do I want to say? You're providing a service or one-on-one consultation. So
Okay.
there wouldn't be any group instructional artifact.
Not like instruction they missed. Okay. I
Right.
see.
Yeah. But if you're just saying, hey, I'm going to be in here from, 4 to 5 on Thursday, and pop in if you want, and then you get into a full tilt, lecture rolling, and you record that to provide it to other people who wouldn't have access to that, who had a job or whatever
Okay.
time conflict. I don't think you need a waiver, as long as it would just be the recording would be shared within that course.
Yeah.
Now,
You say, hey, I've had 3 people ask me about Punnett Squares. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen,
right.
show you how to do this.
Yeah.
And then, but I'm also going to record at this month from now on.
If I did that for summer, but then I want to reuse that recording, something really good came out of that, and I want to reuse that for fall to explain Punnett Squares, then I would probably want to go to Margaret, Ellen, Chris, David, and Mike and say, hey, are you guys okay with me kind of using this thing down the road?
Yeah.
With your little faces and voices in there, or not? And again, whenever you have questions about, when is that point where I need waivers, reusable artifacts across multiple classes where somebody who wouldn't be enrolled in the same program or the same course with us potentially would see that interaction. And beyond that, if you need specific guidance, I would go to your assistant dean or dean to have them help draw those boundaries for your particular context.
Okay.
Like, I never thought about it, but all my classes are online for fall, so that means I have to have online office hours. So, is there another way to do that besides Zoom?
Well, I can show you some battle scars from trying to do a tweet chat over Twitter. I never
Well, I
realized.
don't tweet, so that's
I know.
okay.
There's other ways to do that, but honestly, Zoom would be the simplest thing, because A, you're in a Zoom meeting, you know how a Zoom meeting works, and B, it's something that is used elsewhere in the college. So the odds, I mean, I know FYEX, it's a whole different animal, but the odds that people have had some exposure to Zoom, so that the overhead would be pretty low for them to figure it out to get to you for office hours. I would recommend Zoom, honestly, for that scenario.
So what I'm thinking though is, on my syllabus when I'm doing that top part, and it says office hours, I would put like the day and the time or whatever, and then I would actually put the Zoom link right in there, so that it was there for the students to know that they're virtual. Or
Well, the common problem with office hours, where faculty usually throw their arms up and go, nobody used them, is starting with our schedules instead of student schedules. So having the Zoom link, I think, would be awesome. But as far as already setting the day and time, without polling your students first,
okay.
yeah, because, and again, bearing in mind that is no lockstep guarantee. Well, we took a poll for Margaret, so clearly that's a commitment to be there Thursdays at 4:00 or whatever it is. But it's one of the best practice ways to help that be a utilized resource. So, yeah. But yeah, exactly what you're saying. Mechanically, create a Zoom meeting, slap that link out there, and say, I'm going to offer online office hours. Either, here's the day and times, or I'm going to survey you guys to try and find a hotspot of availability. And there we go.
I'll pick my two and they pick their two.
There you go. We have a little cheat sheet resource about that. I'll throw into the chat here. So it's got some ideas and pointers there. Other thoughts, comments, questions? We're getting a little near the end here ish.
Good. Perfect. I got it all.
Oh my.
So I'll just call you, Amy, if I get stuck.
Right.
Okay, there you go.
I put Mike out of business.
Well, for the interactive, fine by me.
Yeah.
For the interactive bits, I highly encourage you guys to do some dry runs, do some practices. And again, I'm always happy to log in and be a crash test dummy. Just to do it. Particularly breakout rooms, because doing all that on the fly the first time could be a little scary. But with a couple practice runs, it's really not as scary as, as it sounds. All right. Well, if nobody else,
Why don't I call you when you get home?
Good.
I'm going to guess that Chris is good. So I will